welcome back to every NG, where we have all the latest gist that you would ever need. Yes, we have everything here for you, and today we bring you a movie review that has been highly requested. Before we go into that, my name is Judith, and today I have a first timer on the movie reviews, and he is
Victor. And it is really great to be here. I'm here to kill what she cannot handle. I'm just here to handle what she cannot handle. So
anyway, Victor.
Okay, I'll be doing the honors, telling you what we're doing today. And the movie we're reviewing, like she said, highly requested. The movie has been highly anticipated for a long time now. And it is Coming to America 2. Yeah.
Yes, we are going to be reviewing that movie, and I think for most of us, especially as Nigerians, what drew us to the movie was the fact that we're going to be seeing some of our own. So you know that proud moment thing when Nigerians are like, okay, I know this person from TV show.
And it has been hyped for a long time. I can remember as far back as 2019, I'd been hearing that there's a possibility that so and so person, I'm not going to spoil it for you, so and so person is going to be in Coming to America too. And we're like, oh, really? Can that really happen? Okay, but it actually happened. All right, I'll be letting you know about it in just a bit.
So let's start off with our OBO chairman. Now that one has been making rounds on social media because people are like, okay, Davido is thinking about it. Maybe he's anticipating the movie like the rest of us. Until the movie drops today and we saw him performing
live.
What? This wasn't even they're playing his song. He was there with his band, with his suits, floral suits, looking dapper as usual. I'm like, I know this guy from TV, but I know this guy. So yeah, it was really nice. He performed Choma, My Lover.
And I don't know, I don't want to be like the killjoy here, but of course you know what has been going on in the news with Davido and Chioma. I am not saying anything. I don't intend to be, but it was really good to see, and it was a hit.
It really was, yes.
You really need to see.
You know, I can imagine it being in the cinemas, and then immediately Davido comes up, people are like,
yay! You know, that is exactly the feeling that we got from that particular part of the movie. You definitely love it.
But Davido wasn't the only person.
He wasn't. No, he wasn't. Now, when it came to the music of this song, before the movie was actually released, a playlist for the movie was released, like soundtrack playlist for the movie, and we were already expecting to see Nigerian or to hear Nigerian music
sounds,
on the movie or in the movie, and we were not disappointed, but there is a caveat to that.
Yes.
The songs we were expecting were not actually the songs we got.
Do you get? Because I mean, if you watch our pre-review, we had a playlist. We had the playlist on our YouTube channel. Go and check that out. We're supposed to be seeing Larry Gaga. We're supposed to be seeing Mobilibo. We're supposed to be seeing, Tellerman and Oxlade. We're supposed to be listening, hearing them, but I didn't get that. Well, so I'm wondering, is there something else they're going to drop
maybe
for us after?
It's what, like the kind of thing they did with Beyonce's Lion King, the Lion King, the Gifts album.
Makes sense. But then again, remember that with that album, there were fresh songs, not already existing songs. So true. I don't know what they're trying to do with this, because we're supposed to see Tiwa Savage, Dangerous Love, not the one that they gave us. They gave us
Korupa.
Yeah, but it was really nice. I was so excited when I heard Tiwa Savage. I'm like, finally, because I was waiting.
I was vibing immediately.
I'm like, where's my sister, please? And then finally her song was played, and it was really nice. I liked it. It was good. I would say.
Now, apart from Koruba by Tiwa Savage, there was also Waka Waka by Tekno. And that was somewhere in the movie. And somewhere like during the end credits of the movie, we also got to hear Burna Boy's voice. I'm like, ooh, Damini,
is that you?
Damini, is that you? And he didn't just perform a song, he actually wrote.
Yeah.
He wrote a song with John Legend and a couple others, and he actually also performed the song. When I heard the voice, Burna Boy's voice,
you can't miss it.
Unmistakable.
You cannot miss
it. It was really, really beautiful to listen to.
But that's not all. We finished talking about the songs, we heard our people, but there was something that I looked at, I'm like, no, this ain't right. This is not right. So when they were giving the credits for the songs, when they wrote Koroba, I saw Tiwa Topa. I said, the Koroba I know is Tiwa Tope. So what's going on?
Tiwa Topa Savage. And I'm like,
Tiwa Topa Savage. I'm like,
wow.
It's not, how do we get here? Because didn't we do
I had to start thinking back to other songs where they probably mentioned her name, and I remember this song that she did with Zlatan. What's it called now? This song should be played at high volume. I can't even remember the title now, but Zlatan said Tiwa Savage in that song.
We all know we are her sisters now.
We are sisters and brothers.
So we know it's Tiwa Savage, not Tiwa Savage, but that was maybe an oversight on the editor's part, and we hope it doesn't happen again because it's Tiwa Savage. But then let's move on from seeing our people to the costumes.
In the movie.
Yes, it was. Oh well. First off, with movies, different sets of movies, different types of movies require different costumes, as we all know. So, what do you think they did with the costumes here?
The costumes actually struck me. The movie generally was trying to portray rich African culture, and you would agree with me that African dressing, when it comes to the culture of African dressing, it's quite colorful.
Very colorful.
And this movie had very colorful costumes.
I'm just I was looking.
Elaborate patterns.
This is a lot. This is
lot.
effort.
Really?
This is a lot. And especially at the beginning, that restaurant scene. And I'm like, wait, this is a restaurant opening. What am I
when
saying?
They were all at the table.
Yes, and then the person who was attending to them had an Ankara, a dashiki belt over his suit. It was just really nice. I feel like they put in a lot of detail. It was not careless. It wasn't haphazard. It was just okay, we are going to do this, and we're going to go out in doing this, and we're going to do it very well. Because for every scene that had people, we saw the restaurant scene, we saw Lavelle, who was the long lost son, the illegitimate son. His outfits, even though he was trying to portray the guy from Queens who lives in America but had to come back to Zamunda, he was still very African in his dress. They were able to merge the foreign European guy and the African prince of Zamunda. So it was just beautiful. And like I said, for every scene, even people who didn't matter, when I say didn't matter, waka past people, just bystanders, you would tell that, they had to make sure that every scarf part was tucked in, everything was... The costuming was
detail,
very
important.
Intentional. It was nice.
I'm still talking culture now because I'm somehow particular about that. You could see that different African cultures, as pertains dressing, were actually represented.
Yeah, true.
I mean, you could pinpoint Ankara, you could pinpoint Ghanaian kente, you could pinpoint dashiki and some other kind of designs that I don't even. I'm not sure
designs.
Exactly different.
You would see the South African hair drop, those things that they put to dance. It was just very.
And let's not forget Mika and her green.
Repping us.
Nigerian.
Repping us.
Green.
She had a habit of wearing colors. It was just, and then she wore these outfits when she was fighting that was the.
It was just like she draped Nigeria.
Yeah. And then that one again, I was like, are you saying something, sis?
Oh yeah, she was.
So yeah, that was really nice. The costuming was really, really nice. And then Tiana Taylor's cage outfit. That outfit.
I don't know, but I have a feeling you and I are going to disagree on this one because
why?
I was not really big on that outfit.
I loved it.
What is this cage?
I loved it. I loved it. It just looked regal to me. She was a princess, right? So it looked regal to me. It just fits. The outfit was mad. No, don't say that.
Okay,
it was
okay.
Nice.
Well, Tiana Taylor is really beautiful and all, but that particular outfit, nah, not for me. Not for me.
It was a go for me. And then the sisters, his daughters, I'm talking Prince Akeem's daughters, they also gave them outfits that were regal, African, and still it didn't make them look weird.
At all. That was one thing because there's something about movies and portraying Africa as some weird place, even dressing, African dressing, it's not that deep now. But I think they were able to keep it modest.
Did you see that picture of Lavelle and his mom?
Yes, I did.
Oh my goodness!
It was actually one of the most perfect.
Although the dress, Mary borrowed the dress from Lisa,
she borrowed it without her permission.
Without her permission, that was just on another. But let's not talk about that just yet. And then we also had Prince Akeem's outfits. I mean, he's the king. There was this part where he was sitting with his queen. I'm like, from a distance, this suit is not looking bad. But when he stood up,
oh Lord, I almost had a headache.
I'm like,
I think we can both agree that we don't like that outfit. I mean, what was going on with the red? Wanted to kind of remind me of what Ebuka did, one of those Big Brother years, the red everywhere. But when he stood up, and then he had cream colored shoes on or something, and I'm like, oh. Please, next, please.
Next up, fight scenes.
Yeah. That is something I'm quite particular about. I'm not a violent person, but then I'm particular about fight sequences in movies. There was this part of the movie where Akeem was just training with his daughters, and they floored him eventually.
I was going to say his daughters beat him, but since they're training,
It was training. He admitted defeat. So I just feel the fight sequences were not very smooth. I mean, we can actually have better fight sequences. I just felt like maybe they didn't put too much thought into it because it was just like young girls, like not even very mature girls, doing the training. So it wasn't very, very smooth. But it was still okay.
Yeah, but for me, I think in addition to that, they were trying to also portray like a family story. It wasn't so much of bloodshed and fight. So it's only normal that it's not as serious as we expect it to be. But they beat him, Sha.
They floored him.
They floored him. But then again, something else that was really nice about the movie for me was the performances. The performances they brought. Whoo! When I tell you that these people put in effort into so many things in the movie, I mean it, because you would see like people actually singing with their backup, with performers, dancers. I was just like, when they brought like, we're introducing salt and pepper, I'm like,
really? Wow!
And they came out to sing, and they did the whole routine. Like, it wasn't careless singing, it was like they planned for this, they rehearsed for this, and it was beautiful. And then can we talk about Taylor's entrance? Oh my goodness. But then
can I gush a little? I think I'm beginning to develop a crush for Tiana Taylor. I mean, she is exquisite, but she is exquisite. Just let me appreciate. Yeah,
but then we had that. We had also at the King's funeral.
Yeah.
We had like beautiful dance routines, but that Tiana Taylor's entrance, it was just.
And the choreography was really, really good.
Yeah.
Really,
but Tiana is a dancer, so you can't expect anything less. Like, she has to have it perfect. So yeah, that was really nice. Her dancing was beautiful. But there was something funny that happened.
What was
with
that? What was that
the
part?
king?
Oh
yeah. I'm not going to talk about it. He will.
Now, the first thing that struck me was the point where he told Akeem that he wanted to have his funeral when he was still alive. Like, he already knew that the end was near, he was going to die soon. But then he said he wanted his funeral to be glorious and all of that. And then he said, well, I would like to have it right now. I'm like,
maybe that's how things are done in Zamunda.
Okay, you want to be alive and watch your death ceremony.
That wasn't even the biggest thing. It wasn't the biggest thing for me.
The biggest thing was now
after the
real
fanfare,
death. The actual
after
death.
everything, the festivities, they were singing, and then Akeem went to his dad. He's like, "Oh, Dad, this is so good." And the man is like, "I'm so happy that you did this, and the end is there. It's time for me to go." And then he's like, "Now I will die." I'm like, "What's going on here?"
No, he had a smile on.
Yeah, he was smiling. He's like, and then Akeem was, before Akeem could say, "Oh, Dad, don't talk about things like that," he just went, Is this how people die? No, that was that was let's not do that.
It was just funny, and I'm like,
it was really funny because
wow.
how is it that at this particular time where you're happy that you've done all these things, you didn't even wait a day, you didn't wait an hour.
You just said,
at that point, you're like,
all the guests were still around.
They were still singing,
and you decided to leave.
And you decided, oh well, peace, guys.
Peace out.
That one, I beg. Let's not do that again next time, please. Let's not do that again.
Well, that was that. Now let's move on to the very serious aspect of this, and it has to do with racism in the movie.
Yeah.
Now, before the movie actually dropped, there were actually issues already as regards this particular part, because I think one or two bits of this got into the trailer of the movie, and it did not exactly get a very good reception from the African community.
Yeah.
And it was quite too obvious. You remember the part when Akeem and Semi just got to Queens from Zamunda, and they went to the barber shop, and they just stepped into the barber shop, and one of the guys was like, "Oh, look, it's Kunta Kinte and Ebola." What? Okay, so is that supposed to be some good appellation of some sort. Why would you call somebody
Kunta Kinte and Ebola?
That's a deadly virus? Is it because it is particular to Africa?
Yeah.
Why?
And then they didn't even stop there. They went about talking about slavery, blood diamonds, and then brought in Nelson Mandela and Winnie. I'm just like, no, don't do that. Don't do that.
And it's terrible oversight on the part of the producers of the movie and the director, because you should be able to pick these things out from your script or whatever it is, whatever the process, you should be able to pick these things out. Even if you're trying to pass a message across, you should try to mold it in such a way that you don't generate so much controversy.
Yeah, but then there was this guy in the barbershop that said something about Africans and the kind of tits they had. I was just like, but do you know one thing after that scene at the barbershop, we moved on to the house, the boy that he was looking for particularly, that's his son, Lavelle. And when he went to Lavelle's house, Mary, that's Lavelle's mom, said something about, oh my God, when they said, oh, we're going to Africa, she's like, I'm going to have my own hut or something. I'm just like...
I mean, I thought we're past that already. Now, okay, maybe when we get to cinematography, I'm going to point that one out, because there were many different ways that it just seemed like Africa was being portrayed in negative lights.
But one thing I think they tried to do, maybe to kind of soften the landing or pad the landing or something, was the fact that they made these statements come from black people. It doesn't change anything. It doesn't change anything. You're still saying it. You're still pushing that stereotype. It doesn't change anything. So maybe next time we are going to have to frame what we want to say in a different way, because that was not it at all. It was not it at all.
Well, it is time for us to talk about special appearances in this movie, and we have quite a few really special appearances. Let's start with our homeboy, shall we?
Our homeboy,
Rotimi.
Yeah, I was actually really surprised, because when I was watching the trailer, I'm like, okay, I didn't see Rotimi here. It was it was a surprise for most people. It was just like,
pleasant
boom,
surprise.
There you go, Rotimi is in the movie. And it was a pleasant one, I must say, because he was being his sexy Mr. Chocolate. You know how he does his like sexy Nigerian chocolate. He came in and I was like, Rotimi, oh my God, I'm a fine girl. So yeah, I'm just saying. But yeah, Rotimi was there. We also had Rick Ross. That one was, I'm like,
gangster as always. And
a fighter.
He had a gun, and he was
looking, you know.
Well, someone actually pointed out that he seems to have, lost a few pounds.
Yeah, that happened a while ago.
Wow.
It happened a while ago. So I wasn't really surprised when I saw him in the movie. But I'm like, Rick Ross, wow. I'm surprised. And we had Michael Blackson as well. Yeah. And we had our fave, who was so hilarious. He was a newscaster in the movie, like a TV host, Trevor Noah.
And as always, he's always going to make you laugh. Even just the looks on his face.
Yeah, he had this funny looking afro and mustache. It was funny. It was really funny. It was a nice addition to the movie. Really lovely addition to the movie.
So if you want to see them, of course, you know what to do. You know how to go see the movie, right? Okay, now let's talk the cinematography in the movie. And this is the part I said I was going to talk about. Okay. It kind of reminds you of Black Panther. You know
Wakanda.
Wakanda. You know how Wakanda was portrayed as a technologically developed nation, albeit not exactly in present years. Well, Wakanda was miles ahead of the rest of the world, in terms of advancement and all of that. But when you put that vis-a-vis coming to America too, the very beginning, like, okay, first of all, the cinematography was really good. I mean, swooping from the top and just showing us the palace. I think that was actually very good. But all that distance before the palace, it was all forests everywhere.
Like, it was just animals, forests. I'm like, okay, where's the rest of Zamunda?
People? Like, where's the
hospital?
Okay. Where is like a school?
Where's the school? Yeah.
It's just okay. Like,
museum? No.
Within the forest or what?
Where it was just the palace.
I had a major problem with that. I had it and even behind the palace, you could just see stretches of. And I'm okay.
Forest,
did they just decide to build the palace in the middle of nowhere? Or the people just live somewhere else really far away? And I don't think that was actually correct. Maybe they did not pay too much attention to that. But of course, we pointed out, and I'm like, ugh, it was cringe-worthy for me. Anyway.
It was. Okay, but something else that was really nice with the cinematography. No, remember we said that swooping in, the way they captured the scenes, lovely. But another part that I loved was the wedding.
You
was
would love the
wedding.
You would love the wedding.
Why?
I don't know. It's just something with ladies and weddings.
No. It was because it was nice.
Well, it was actually nice.
It was nice.
It was.
It was really nice because capturing her dress, the entrance. I was just like, who thought this up? This person is genius because it just captured the essence of royalty in her. Like, this babe is a royal somebody. You get that kind of thing.
And can we also mention that it
nice.
captured the dress? Whew. I mean, a red wedding dress. First of all,
it was Ankara.
The guy was wearing white or something whitish, and the lady was wearing red. I was like, okay, could you both have swapped colors or something? But it was really beautiful.
A red suit.
Take nothing. Red suit. After all, Akim wore a red suit.
We didn't like it. And we did not like it. So please, I think both of them looked amazing with that, and
they did.
Of course, it was lovely. But let's talk about design. Let's move away from dressing the people to dressing the locations.
The locations, and for me, it was a perfect score.
I can imagine what the budget for that was like, because it was just so good. It was good. I must say it was good. Like, parts where we had the funeral, you'd see just amazing. Like, it was good. But do you remember the beginning where they had to launch a new restaurant, the McDonald's restaurant, and they actually went, because I don't think there's a restaurant called McDonald's. They actually went out of their way to build that. You can see the elephants going into the restaurant. I don't know why that elephant is going, but the elephant was going
to eat a burger or
to
something.
pass through which door?
Maybe they'll just pass the burger from the window.
But point is, they put in a lot of effort into dressing the locations, into making sure that the set designs were on point.
And they were.
I'll give them that one. It was on point. Let's talk about the entrances.
Now, the entrances were dramatic.
Very dramatic.
Emphasis on each syllable of dramatic.
If you've seen the first part, you know how dramatic it is when Akim is coming in and when he's just make that times 2.
I'm telling you.
Times 2.
And then you now had Wesley Snipes playing the role of General Easy, and he was not easy.
0.
With his entrances
0.
at all. He was 0. Not easy. But
you know one thing that was really funny was, Easy is like his adversary, right? So when Easy's soldiers were coming to attack them, subtly put, they welcomed them. Like,
yes, they just opened the doors.
They opened the doors. I'm like, if someone is coming to fight you, are you not supposed to lock your door?
But they opened the doors.
They opened the doors wide open. Like, welcome to our home.
Come and destroy it.
Another dramatic end. But then you were talking about Easy's entrance.
I don't know what it was with that particular character. I mean, he was supposed to be like a fearsome general of some sort, but he was always dancing like a little child.
So hilarious.
So funny, to be honest.
So hilarious. And the thing is, Wesley Snipes is never really seen as a funny guy in movies. He's always acting one action part or the other. But in this movie, he just did it like a 180. He was like the hilarious guy. I mean, in his movies, he'll drop few punchlines here and there, you laugh. But here, all his scenes were funny. And then did you see his gaze? He was like...
Yeah, like... But it was good for comic relief.
Yeah, for comic relief. The entire movie was comic.
Yeah, it was, but maybe not as funny as the original. Maybe we'll get back to that later.
True. We'll get back to that.
Yeah, but anyways.
And then the King's funeral entrance. Did you see? Like when they came in with throwing flowers, they opened his coffin. I'm like, wait, why is this man like... Anyway, he was going to die there. So
Zamundan tradition.
I guess. But yeah, effects.
Okay, let's talk about the effects now. I'm particular about 2 things. Now, there was a part where Akim and his son Lavelle were like having a father-son conversation, and then one elephant just came prancing, and Lavelle got scared. First of all, his father had to tell him, "No, calm down. That's my friend, Babbar. I've been his friend from right when he was a little elephant and all of that." And I took a good look at the elephant and I'm like, okay, this is not a real elephant. First of all, it's CGI, but it was subpar. They did not nail the effects on the elephant. And I'm like, okay, this is not too easy on the eye. You people could have done it a little better. And
I feel like you could tell that elephant wasn't there, because when Lavelle was looking at the elephant, his eyes were not on the elephant. It was away from it, so you could tell that some things are not adding up here. Yeah, something was off. And then it was not so funny because they put a lion. Yes, and when you compare the scene with the lion to the scene with the elephant, you know that there's a big difference.
Let me now bust your head.
What?
The lion was actually a real lion.
Yeah, I thought so. I thought so because
when you look at the end credits, you actually see the name of the lion trainer.
ooh,
The
that's a
person who
cool
trained
job.
the lion.
That's a cool job.
I don't know how cool that kind of job is. Training at taming lions.
But yeah, don't you think they put themselves at a disadvantage, putting a real
lion and then really
kind of
messing up the effects of the elephants? But I hope those who did that work will probably learn ahead of other movies. But it really could have been better. But every other thing was really, really good.
It was really good. But then, what's a movie without a little bit of love? A little bit of love. So Lavelle came from Queens, and he was supposed to get. Funny how he was supposed to get married to Tiana Taylor.
Yes,
remember, because Tiana Taylor was Izzy's daughter.
Bopoto
was Izzy's daughter, and he liked her at first based on physical appearance and all whatnot. He hadn't spoken to her yet. You know that thing that they say, if you really want to know your crushes, talk to the person.
Talk to the person. It's very important. Moral story. Or moral lesson.
Let's not talk about that just yet. He was supposed to get married to her, but then he fell in love with the palace groomer, who was played by Nomza Mumbata, and she played the role of Mirembe. She was amazing. But let's not talk about how amazing she is. And they fell in love. They started talking, getting to know themselves. He liked her personality. And then there was this night that they went out in the garden, and then he was talking, and next thing I know, I'm like, ooh.
Smooshy, smoosh.
Yeah. At first, you could tell that when she was looking at her, when she was looking at him, you could just see love.
In her
eyes.
Calm down.
Like,
it's been just 2 weeks.
Calm down. But then eventually that same night they made out, they kissed. I was like, I was expecting this. I mean,
but she ran away though. She was like, I shouldn't have done that.
Did anybody plant your feet there? Nobody planted your feet there. So what are you talking about, sis? But anyway, of course they had to just sprinkle in some love for us, because it was basically supposed to be a remake of the first one, and of course Prince Akeem had his own love story with Lisa, so yeah, that was expected. But let's talk sexist comments, sexism in the Zamunda kingdom.
Another very serious aspect of this movie, and I think it was one of the major things that the movie was trying to address. Sexism in African culture. The king, Akeem, although he was a prince first, but he eventually became king when his father died. He had 3 daughters. I will not mention their name. Tinashe, Oma, and Mika. So African culture has this thing with having a son, right? And apparently it might not be just your country that it happens. It is probably peculiar to other African cultures as well. It was the same in Zamunda. He needed to have a son to become the heir. Now, if you think back to the original movie, when he was still prince, he said when he became king, he would change a lot of things. And also, now a lot of things includes all those negative and backward traditions. But he became king, maybe he became a little bit weak.
Everything just went back
to normal and all of that. So his daughter Mika, the oldest one, was already preparing herself to become queen. And after he said, then all of a sudden, when man heard that he had a son, he flew all the way to America from Africa to go and bring the son because he wanted an heir. And because General Easy was threatening him, trying to form an alliance and all of that. Well, sexism was actually quite serious in this movie. There were times when Mika was told point blank that you can't
rule. Say anything. There was this time that she was trying to talk to her dad when Bopoto came in and they were planning a wedding with Izzy, and she's like, Dad, we can't do this now. And he's like, shut up. Like, you get shutting her up. And the thing is, the young lady actually had ideas. She had brilliant ideas, but she was always being shut up. And then it was also highlighted in the love scene we're talking about, because when Mirembe was talking to Lavelle, he was like, okay, what are your plans? She said she wants to own a barber shop. And he's like, okay, why not do it? And she said women are not allowed to own
barber
businesses.
Shops. Or businesses at all in Zamunda.
I'm like,
really?
Interesting.
And that was not even.
This is why we don't have hospitals and schools in Zamunda.
So we only have forests. That's what we're saying.
Yeah.
Right? And another part that really highlighted it was during that ceremony where it was like, okay, eventually, what's his name now? Lavelle and Bopoto were going to get married. But then Lavelle, wanted to take the time to actually get to know Bopoto and converse with her. And he was just walking around with her and was just asking her questions like, okay, what are your plans? What do you want? What is your favorite movie, first of all? The conversation was not going well, so he was just
Yeah.
like, okay, what is your favorite movie? And she went, any movie that you
It
like.
was so dramatic. It's
So
like,
dramatic.
any movie you like.
There was this attitude of servitude, like
Yeah.
I'm just at your service. Whatever it is
Whatever
you
I
want from me.
And it's
that's
like,
it.
okay, what do you like? What kind of business do you want? It's like, any business. I'm just like, oh my God.
And eventually she said, I am only a wife.
Yeah. And do you know what that reminds me of? Bopoto's aunt, Imani. When she was made to back.
And she kept on backing.
And she kept on backing
For
till
years.
Akim came back. And it was like, Akim placed a backing course on her because she kept on backing for years. 33 years after, because the first one was made in 1988. 33 years after, Imani is still backing. She's still backing. So that was, this is how to send a message. Mm-hmm. As opposed to racist comments. This is how to send the message. They did it so well, and at the end of the day, he actually brought his daughter into governance. Mm-hmm. But with the racist comments that we got, there was no solution, there was no real lesson to learn there. It was just, okay, I'm saying this for the fun of it, and
and it was not fun. It didn't turn out to be fun at all.
But please, I have a problem. We've said so many good things about this movie, but the issue I have is, why must every movie have a happy ending?
And who ever told you that every movie has a happy ending?
Why most movies have a happy ending?
Because
like, it wasn't necessary.
Who doesn't love a happy ending?
It's not realistic.
It's not unrealistic.
But it's not very realistic.
What would you have rather had?
Do you know the thing? Mary came from Queens. Mm-hmm. She took someone's dressed up permission, the Queen's dress, and suddenly they turned out to be best friends in how many weeks? The young girl who has trained all her life to be queen and then had one illegitimate, in quotes, brother come from Queens to take her place, ended up being best friends. Everybody ended up being best friends. Even Izzy, that has been fighting Zamunda Kingdom for years, ended up being best friends with the king, with a little bit of beating though, but that happened. So it was just, okay, some people might have gotten along, but not everybody. Not everybody.
So your point is the happy ending was rather too cliche.
Yes,
and
very
it was
cliche.
too elaborate. It was too kumbaya.
Kumbaya. That's
okay.
it.
Well, I actually did not have a problem with the happy ending. I don't know. She likes violence.
I don't.
So you do used to like violence.
But yeah, so
happy ending was pretty good for me. But then let's not spoil the movie, more than we already have. Mm-hmm. We have to give you some allowance to actually watch the movie and enjoy it for yourself, mm-hmm. right? But before we actually get to the final ratings, let's talk about whether or not this remake was necessary. And it's quite interesting to point out that they said it in the movie.
Yes.
They talked about how unnecessary remakes can be.
I feel like they were shading themselves. When Mirembe was talking to Lavelle, he's like, they were talking about American movies as compared to Zamunda movies, and she's like, oh, there's some things that are unnecessary in American movies, like the remake of sequels. Mm-hmm. I'm like,
really?
That shade I hear.
Self-sub?
Yes, and that brings me to my answer. I don't think it was necessary.
As much as I
necessary.
don't want to say it was not
necessary at all, because it just looks like, okay, Eddie Murphy was like, oh friends, let's go have some fun on set. There was no strong story. Mm-hmm. It was just a less serious repeat of what he went through in 1988, and we had that again now, and it was so unnecessary. People could have enjoyed the first one, and we could have left it at that. To have just left it, or just maybe something else. Make something else. That probably reminds you of that one, but it's not exactly a continuation or a reboot. So I think filmmakers these days are so obsessed with trying to merge the old movies with the new age, like the Gen Z and the millennials that want you to understand what we saw then. And it's not like, there are things that are just specific to certain times, so there is no need to bring that. Make a different movie for this generation. There's no need trying to fuse like, okay, we must bring the old movies, let's try to make you understand and bring your own part of the story into it. It just ends up being messy sometimes. So I don't think a remake was necessary in this case. It wasn't really necessary, but we move still. We move. Yeah, so let's general ratings now. Okay, well, let's just try and keep this as short and simple as possible. So starting with cinematography, cinematography for me would be a 7. Why? Anyway, I don't care. I would give a 9.
Oh,
I'll give it
wow!
9. Yes,
That's very generous.
because it was good.
Haven't you seen better?
It was good.
Oh well. Anyways, it was good, but still a 7 for me though.
9 from me.
Okay.
So what would you say about delivering the message delivery?
We already talked about it. That
Yeah.
is like a message delivery as opposed to the message itself. Well, the delivery was not so bad, so that can be like a 6 for me.
I would give it 4. I think the delivery was bad because
Subpar.
when you think about it, there are messages that they were trying to send, but they did not do it the right way. Case in points, the racist thing and the
True.
whole family orientation that they were trying to build as well. It wasn't so solid. It was not so solid, so I'll give it a 4.
All right. Okay, now let's talk costumes. I said it before, perfect score for me.
10.
Perfect score.
If I could give an 11.
Yeah, definitely would.
Definitely give an 11. But what about the story, the screenplay? How were they moving along? How the continuity of the movie, like the storyline? What do you think?
That is another weak aspect of the movie, really,
Yeah.
for me. And I think we have already alluded to it, previously. So I would just, I don't know, as much as I want to be harsh, I'm still very nice. So I'll just give it a 5.5.
I'll give it a 5. It was the same thing with the last
I knew
one.
it. I'm more generous than I told you
I'll
about
give it a
her liking
5.
violence, right?
Please. I'll give it a 5.
Okay, now let's go to the directing.
Okay. I think that's good. I think it was good. I think the directing was good. I would definitely say an 8.
Okay, and this time I'm the less generous one. For directing, that would be 7.5 from me.
Violence again. So let's also talk about sounds and the kind of songs they used, how appropriate they were for the scenes and stuff like that. What do you think?
It wasn't a hit. It wasn't a miss. It was just somewhere closer to a hit than a miss. So they actually tried, but I've actually seen better implementation of sound and all of that. There was no actual place in the movie where they synced sound into the acting. There was no place where it really, really blended, so to speak.
At the risk of sounding biased, I think where they played Kuruba wasn't bad.
No, that was not bad.
That wasn't bad. I think
but
that
that was just one
That was just one
place in the entire movie.
Yeah.
So sound for me would be a 7.5.
It would be a 7.
Even as I was the one who criticized more, I still gave a higher score.
It would be a 7. It would be a 7. But what about the coloring of the movie?
No, that was excellent.
Yeah.
It was really excellent. That's a 9 for me.
Oh,
That's a 9.
I'll give it a 9 as well. I agree with you.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah.
One of those odd times.
And then finally, let's talk about casting. This is probably one of the most talked about parts of this movie. Like everybody was excited about the lineup. We had really strong characters. We had veterans. We had newbies. But seeing the movie, what do you think about how the cast were able to interpret their characters and deliver?
I don't know, for the cast from the original, a lot of them, or virtually all of them, made it back. I feel they were in their elements, maybe because of the fact that they already had the movie in them, so to speak. So, well, it wasn't bad, but the only problem I now have with the casting would be the delivery. The delivery, which we have spoken about before. The casting was good, but it was not exactly top-notch delivery from the casting. But as it regards just pure casting, I think maybe I would have liked to see some other faces. I would have liked to see someone like Kevin Hart in this movie.
Why? We already had enough funny people. We didn't
It's
need
supposed to be
any
a
more
comedy.
comedy.
We
We needed a stronger storyline as opposed to comedy.
Well, anyways, I'm just saying. But
Yeah.
I think it was good, the likes of Trevor Noah, Michael Blackson. So, cast for me would be 8.
Why are you copying me? I was actually going to give an 8.
So, after all the things I said, it's still 8. Same.
It's an 8, yeah.
Okay.
So,
That is it, right?
yeah.
That is all. And it has been absolutely fun reviewing this movie. But it was even more fun watching the movie. And that is why I keep saying you need to see that movie for yourself. You definitely love it. Coming to America 2, the sequel is in the air. You don't remember that?
I do. But like, if you have seen the movie, let us know in the comments what you think of it. If you feel like you disagree with us on certain things, let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear what you think.
Yes, and that is it from Judith and I, Victor. Until the next one, this is every NG. If you like this video, smash the thumbs up button and don't forget to subscribe to our channel as well. And hit the bell icon so you can get notifications for every other video that we post. All right. So from me, signing out.